You're watching the Chicago Bearscast with Maddie and Bleeves, and now it's time for the show.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. It's getting a little bit weird out here. I got a bunch of news for you. I got a whole bunch going on in the background, and we're going to start off with something that to me was just absolutely wild. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. We're going to pop it up on the screen here before we get started and just say we are wishing a speedy recovery to Dan Bernstein of 670 the score. Did anything happen to him? No, but he lost his mind yesterday, crying a lot, just really not having a great day of anything because he was just and guys, if you haven't, I suggest you definitely go check this out. It was absolutely radical and absolutely crazy. Poor Dan Bernstein just breaking down in front of everybody. Danny, Matt, and Lawrence were just like, I thought they were going to have to hug him at some point because he just this whole thing with Matt Eberflus still having a job, he could not handle himself. And we're going to talk about all of that. There are a few pieces that we didn't get to, and one of those was yesterday. This conversation was really about, by the way, the devil from AEW is here. Matt Eberflus has been retained. There was a presser yesterday with Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles said, and this is going to be crazy, we didn't even reach out to Jim Harbaugh. Now, look, that to me sounds irresponsible. And it could be that, Jim Harbaugh made it known that he would not be available if they came looking. But it seems to me irresponsible to the fans to not at least consider Jim Harbaugh bringing the hometown kid back to, his place. It just seems very, very odd that he wouldn't do that. And I don't have a clip of that because making these clips was really time consuming yesterday, but we got a lot. We got a lot going on. But here is matter of fact, here's an article right here. They say that they never reached out to Jim Harbaugh. And look, I've got a whole bunch of different clips here to kind of break down. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to kind of bring out, we want to talk. This is a statement made by Matt Eberflus yesterday as we kind of got started. And I'm just going to play this clip for you. It's 24 seconds long, and then we're going to try to break it down a little bit.
Coach Flus, his leadership through hard times. We had some adversity early in the season, in the middle of the season. His ability to stand strong and keep the team together was incredible. His ability to adapt and adjust as we went along. He had sudden change in terms of his role, and I thought we benefited from that. I thought we got better from that point, and I'm really happy for him.
Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I feel like, I think, we really, yesterday we broke down a lot of the defensive, a lot of what happened with the defense. Chicago Bears were middle of the pack in yards given up towards the bottom half. They were the number one rushing defense by a pretty good margin. Second place was Detroit, gave about 50 yards. I guess it's pretty close enough. But gave up a lot of points. I mean, that's, there's a lot of different things to break down on this passing where they were near the bottom. They were not nearly as good overall, but the number one rushing defense in all of football. As far as points given up on the season, middle of the pack. So we want to look at Matt Eberflus and want to give him the benefit of doubt. And we want to say the second half of the season went a lot better than the first half of the season. And look, there were times when this entire team, because it was not ready, by the way. And Jalen Johnson gave that interview, which I keep referring back to, where he said, look, we don't really practice situational gameplay. We really don't practice for the moments that happen in the game. That seems unfair as a team to me that seems obvious that you would want to practice those kind of things. But let's take it for face value. The team came out beginning of the season absolutely unprepared. That this team could have fallen completely apart and capsized, and who was going to do anything about it. There's no it's just it would be absolutely insane and bonkers. And yes, ETF approval did come this morning. Bitcoin pumped up to 49,000. But the team could have fallen apart at any point. So Ryan Poles is right. The Chicago Bears held it together. They kept it together, and in the second half of the season, they had a much better a much better record than they did in the first half of the season. So shout out to Matt Eberflus, because he did in fact hold it together. And say what you want about Matt Eberflus in that regard, but he really did hold this team together, and you have to commend them on it. Now, the big thing that goes along with this is, why did you bring back Matt Eberflus? And this, I want to say, speaks volumes to Justin Fields. The important guy in this equation is Justin Fields, and this is what they had to say about continuity. Now, this clip is going to be a little bit longer. It's about 1:19. But I want to watch this. We'll unpack what they're saying right here, and then we'll deal with the analysis of what happened here.
The last 2 to 3 days we spent really reflecting, gathering information on the year. Really Monday from, I think it was 7 in the morning to about 4:30 in the evening. We did exit meetings with every single player on our team. We want to know what we're doing well, what we're struggling, what can be corrected, anything from team travel to coaching to all of those parts. And we spent time together on Tuesday to go over the year. Again, what went well, what didn't go well, and gather that information. I came away with really two feelings. One was there was a little disappointment. I wish there's some games that we finished. We were ahead. I wish we finished those games and really took this thing to a higher level than where we are now. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to win championships and to win the division, and we came up short of that. However, I also was really proud of the steps that we did take. If you really look back and really look at the starting point and then look at where we are today, you can't tell me you don't see the difference. We're making strong progress. We're doing it the right way. It's built on a solid foundation. It's not a house of cards. It's going to continue to go up as we continue to have continuity with our roster.
Continuity is the big thing that Ryan Poles is trying to get to right there, telling you that he thinks that it's very important for this team to move forward instead of backwards. Now, look, you can like or not like Justin Fields. You can like or not like Matt Eberflus. But the fact is, if they don't get, and there was a time, by the way, I want to say this, there was a time when it was generally accepted by everybody in football. It didn't matter who you were, where you were. You had to get at least 3 years in before you could really make a determination. Now, that is the day before, quarterback salaries have kind of maybe gotten a little bit rampant overall. Maybe we're probably paying these guys just a little bit too much by comparison to not by the way, to the market. The market is the market, but compared to positional analysis, we're giving these guys $50 million a year in some big interest in some big situations here. We're paying $50 million for a quarterback, but we're only paying $7 to $10 million for a running back. So, the position has changed in the dynamic and the value overall. So it's led to some quicker decisions being made overall. But the important thing is we're looking for continuity, and we're looking for maybe that throwback to, let's go with Matt Eberflus. Let's give him that final chance. Now, what do we do at the end of this? If it doesn't happen and next year becomes a disaster, then we pack it up and we throw it away. And that's it. He goes. Ryan Poles goes because he's got his wagon hitched there. Kevin Warren will have to get rid and clean house. And then the question now becomes, what do you do about Justin Fields? Now, it seemed like yesterday we had a conversation where I think it seemed like DJ Moore was kind of saying, hey, I think that this is going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you support Matt Eberflus? Do you think that he is? And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. That certainly helps me out a lot, by the way, because that pushes me up in the algorithm, gets this stream going for more people, and I certainly would appreciate it. So, this is getting wild. I think speculative at best. But I think this bodes well for Justin Fields. I think that really does. Let's put that down there at the bottom for people coming in. By the way, so let's just continue on because there's some more to this. Now we're going to talk about directly. I got a clip here, about 30 seconds. It's about Justin Fields, and we can unpack this one too.
In terms of our process, I know there's going to be a lot of questions on Justin. There's going to be a lot of questions on the draft process. We are in information gathering mode right now. We are going to turn every stone to make sure that we are going to make a sound decision for our organization. I did think Justin got better. I think he can lead this team. But at the same time, there's a unique situation where I have to look and our staff has to look at everything.
All right, so as you can see right there, he thinks that Justin Fields got better over the season. So what does that mean? The question would be, is there value to Justin Fields? Is this his swan song exit interview? Do we have that feeling like maybe, like maybe this is the end of Justin Fields? Well, it doesn't feel like it from those comments. It feels like they're trying to say that, maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the one they stick with, and that they're going to have to be very, very, very impressed with what they see out of Caleb Williams going forward. Now, this leads us to the big one. This is the big one. It was making the rounds yesterday, and I don't know who this lady is that's asking this question, but shout out to her for I want to say losing those press credentials, because if this is the type of question that you ask people, don't expect to be in this room for very long. Framing of a question, especially when you're looking for positivity, is very difficult. And this lady just absolutely you know what? Here it is. You guys listen to it.
How far along are you in
changes to the staff and moving on from several offensive coaches? This team has 10 wins in 2 years. And I apologize for the awkward nature of this question. What made you want to stay with Maddie Eberflus and knowing that that's the direction you want to go at head coach?
Yeah, everything I talked about in the beginning, just in terms of his leadership and stability, I really think that the head coach needs to be able to captain the ship when the seas are when the seas have storms, and really keep everything settled. When you go through hard times and he can keep everyone together, to me, that's like the critical piece in a market like this. Like, you have to be strong. I mean, if he's jumping off the boat and everyone else starts jumping off the boat, it's a hot mess. So the stability was a big piece of it. The detail that he coaches with, taking some of the mistakes from the game, bringing them to practice, and making sure that we're doing things the right way. I saw a lot of progress in that. There's a reason why we went from 3 to 7 wins. The player aspect of it is important, but also the detail and bringing the team together and sticking through those hard times allowed us to push through. And you saw a lot of those wins happening towards the back end of the season. If it's not for him, I really don't think that's the case. I think it starts to crumble. Everyone starts to do their own thing. So to me, that was a critical piece.
So that was a bad take from this reporter, because what she was trying to do, she's trying to frame a narrative. The narrative being that, why would you go with a guy who's only got that only has 10 wins over 2 seasons? You know what? Fair enough. But if you inherit a dumpster fire, don't expect the dumpster to be cleaned right away, right? And you have to consider that. They came in, won 3 games in their first full season, coming off of what people said was one of the worst sequences in Chicago Bears history. Matt Nagy just falling apart at the seams. So they came in, won 3 games, just did not look very good. Didn't win for a long period of time, in fact. And then all of a sudden, lose the first 4 games of this season. It's not looking great. It's not looking optimal. Then what happens? What happens after that? Well, then the team starts to, let's just call it, come together. Like, we're not winners yet. We're not winning yet, right? We lose the first 4 games, then we win against the Commanders, then we lose against the Vikings, then we win against the Raiders, and now you got 2 of the last 3 games that you've won. You're still 2-5. You're not looking great. Then you lose 2 more. Some of these are winnable games, by the way, along the way. A couple of winnable games. Then you get to the second half of the season, and then you rattle off a win against the Panthers, and then you lose to the Lions in a game you should not have lost. And then the realization is you shouldn't have lost to the best team in the NFC North. You are as good as that team, and you were actually playing better ball. So then you come in and you beat the Vikings. Then you come back and you beat the Lions, and you trounce the number 1 NFC North Lions. Then you lose in a very close heartbreaker to the Browns. Now suddenly you're a competitive team. And again, say what you will, you're playing some of the better teams out here. You're playing the Lions, who won the division. You had an opportunity to sweep them. You didn't sweep them. Fair enough. But then you came in, you beat the Vikings. The Vikings struggling a little bit using Joshua Dobbs and that, Mong haircut of his. And you move on and you lose a heartbreaker to the Browns that you probably should have won. Then you come out and you beat up on the Cardinals, you beat up on the Falcons, and then you take the L to the Packers to end the season. But that puts you at 5-3 going through the second half of the season, of a season in which you only won 2 games in the first half. But you continue to improve, you continue to get better, you continue to improve the quality of this team. So when she asks a question about, well, you only won 10 games, well, yeah, but 5 of those games were the last 8 games. So if you're not like it, how do you not see progress? What is it that you're looking for out of, your hot take here that makes you think that the fact that you're winning games finally is a bad thing, and that you still have to pay for the old games? Like, what are we, 9 years old at this point? So, you can't, you got to do better than asking for silly takes like that. Like, that is just 100% ridiculous. And anybody, anybody who says something like that, like throw them out. Like, don't let them come back. Take their press pass. Ask whoever hired her, ask them, send somebody else next time. Send somebody who can ask the right questions. Or if you're an editor-in-chief somewhere, then you better be asking her, what do you think you're going to accomplish with this take? Like, what do you think you're going to do? You think you're going to endear us to this team? Like, this team, and not for anything, this team wants you to, this is, you're reporting news to the fans, not to the haters. You're reporting news to the fans. Now, some of the fans are haters sometimes, but look, don't ask baited questions. I suppose I should say that. You ask baited questions, you get baited answers, and you do stuff like that, you look like an asshole. The Chicago Bears don't look like the assholes. So that's all I'm saying right now. This episode, by the way, brought to you by the Devil from AEW. Make sure that you're tuning in. If you're not watching AEW, you probably should be. Now, the next thing is, and this is a 37-second clip, and this is going to be a conversation that's going to be very difficult over the next couple of months, and it's going to be about the rampant support for Justin Fields amongst the teammates. And is Ryan Poles going to do anything about that? Like, what is his hot take on that? And let's listen.
Ryan, how much do you take into account, or should you take into account, the seemingly endless support for Justin Fields that we perceive to exist in the locker room, just from talking to players? Do you take that into account, or do you have to separate that part?
I have to separate it a little bit, but I absolutely love it. I mean, when you talk about building a team, I want that type of support in our locker room. I want those guys to, when they go take the field, I want them to believe in the player that they have at that quarterback position. I want them to believe into the person to the right and to their left. So I absolutely love that. With any decision, I got to take the emotion out of it and look at the whole deal.
There you go. So this is very difficult for Ryan Poles, because what Ryan Poles is basically telling you is, Justin Fields is highly respected amongst the team. And again, a baited question, but they're basically saying that there's massive support for Justin Fields, and it seems that way because that is what you're getting. Now, if you don't like Justin Fields, then what you're going to say in your mind is, yeah, but they have to say that. They have to support. No, they don't. They do not have to do that. And they will do it because they want to do it. People don't have to like each other to work together. It helps when you do, but that is absolutely not required and not necessary in any way. So, don't forget that. Remember that Justin Fields has the support of these people because they want to support him. They believe in what he's doing. And that's probably going to factor in very big going forward for Ryan Poles. And to be fair, a few of the players indicated that getting rid of Justin Fields to them would be almost tantamount to mutiny. They're big fans of like that not happening. So I'll be interested to see what how this plays out. But let's move on. Which leads us, by the way, how can you hire a new OC if you don't know who your quarterback is? And if you are going to hire that new OC, then what does that process look like? So let's hear what Ryan Poles has to say about that.
Ryan, don't you need to have some clarity about your quarterback plans as you talk to offensive coordinator candidates? Because that would seem to change possibly the group of candidates that you could get, the tone of those interviews, and those are very different tasks between coming into work with Justin versus helping you guys pick the right quarterback at number one.
No, I love it because you have to. What are you going to do for these 4 different types of quarterbacks? I want to hear that, and I think it's really important to see the versatility and the adaptability in their teaching and the way they implement a plan, scheme, adjust. I think it actually makes it pretty dynamic in terms of an interview.
So it looks like that. It looks like that what he's saying is he doesn't agree with that. So, and as a matter of fact, early reports came out that Shane Waldron was the favorite because of what he has done and because Pete Carroll is no longer the coach out in Seattle. So now they're talking about Shane Waldron coming aboard, and they were big fans of what he did with Geno Smith over the last little run that they've had here. So there's a lot of support right now for Shane Waldron. And to be fair, I don't think that it matters to Shane Waldron who the quarterback is. So, it's entirely possible. Now, by the way, for those of you that don't know, I am a big fan of Tommy Rees, the OC at Alabama, because Nick Saban has retired. That, Tommy Rees could probably have a good run in the NFL as a quote unquote quarterback whisperer, a guy who talks to quarterbacks and who has a good relationship and builds his offense around what a quarterback can do instead of trying to Luke Getsy your way through or thus force somebody into doing something. So I think that a new OC is probably going to be pretty interesting as we watch this kind of unfold. I'm certainly interested to see. I don't think anybody is going to be good enough in every fan's eyes, and we're just going to have to deal with it and see what happens there. Now the question then becomes, well, are you doing yourself a disservice? Are you doing the team a disservice? And are you doing Justin Fields a disservice if you have Justin Fields learn a new offense? And if that's the case, then let's talk about what does Matt Eberflus think of that question.
Matt, if you guys stick with Justin, what are the challenges that you perceive of him having to learn his 3rd offense in 4 years?
Justin's very smart, very intelligent. He's able to adapt and adjust, so I don't see that being a problem at all.
Ryan, you mentioned being disappointed in some of the games that got away. When you look at Denver, Detroit, Cleveland, how did you evaluate the coaching accountability in those 3 losses in particular?
Yeah, I kind of looked at it big picture. My biggest thing is just putting teams away when you got them on the ropes. The killer instinct just to knock it out, to put the game away. That was kind of my reflection of it, and that's what matters to me. So again, when we go through this process, we'll look at that in terms of just being able to put teams away. There's like a balance between cautious and aggression that you have to have a feel for that.
So 2 things there. What we're talking about here is it going to be difficult for Justin Fields to learn a 3rd offense? And Matt Eberflus is not concerned about that, thinks it will be fine. Of course, it does take about a year for you to master it, but it's okay. All you have to do is master it within the confines of the first 9 games of the season. Do a decent job of running a simplistic offense at that point, NFL worthy, surprise your teams, and then you unpack the system as the year goes by, and you improve upon it as you get better and better and better at it. Justin's a sharp study, and he'll be fine. And then you had that quick take, the hot take there for Ryan Poles. Like, how are you assessing? And by the way, I think some of that came down into what we're talking about with Luke Getsy, in that this was an opportunity for them to get rid of Luke Getsy and say, you know what, this is actually exactly what we're seeing right here. Let's get rid of Luke Getsy, because let's unpack what he's done and let's evaluate that, and let's figure out, what we're going to do in the path forward. And obviously, Ryan Poles just he understood and he understands. Now, one of the questions that I would ask here is, if you're unpacking all of this, this is where I draw kind of a blank when I'm having this conversation with myself, my internal monologue, if you will, and that is, why is Ryan Poles having those conversations with himself, his internal monologue about, why is Luke Getsy doing this? Why is this not happening? What can we do? And why are we going to let this continue to the end of the season? Now, the fact that the Bears rattled off 5 wins in the last 8 games made that decision probably a little more difficult, because you could see the progress in the team. But I do want to argue that we didn't see the progress in Luke Getsy in his play calling, or when we did see the progress, or we felt like the progress was happening, in that we were starting to see more downfield game. We were starting to see more, let's go for it, et cetera, et cetera. Then we follow all of that up with this debacle. I want to call it a debacle because it's the only fair word that I can use, in Green Bay, where instead of passing, we only passed 16 times the entire game, and we couldn't run the ball. And guys, I want you to think about that. If you have a game plan and it's centered around the run, and the run's not working, a smart-minded coach is going to find ways to implement play action, who's going to find ways to start to implement the passing game in order to slow down the defense so that you can run the ball. But instead, that's not what we got. What we ended up getting was Luke Getsy just continued to try to run the ball and barely tried to pass. Like, that should say everything you need to know about Luke Getsy's ability to comprehend what's going on the field, and to make adapt to the changing dynamic of a game. That was atrocious, and would be a testament to why he had to be gone. And it was the right move, by the way, to make sure that Luke Getsy was out of here. And I say that also knowing that most probably Matt Eberflus was going to stay. Luke Getsy still had to go, and Matt can't be the guy to defend him. And now we're going to close this out with, we've got one more big one. This is going to be about 2 minutes long, but this is Matt Eberflus talking about the offensive coordinator, and there's some interesting takes that you're going to get, and you need to listen to this one.
How do you find somebody who's both equipped to get the most out of Justin Fields, but is also equipped to develop a number 1 draft pick or a rookie quarterback of you guys?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think the offensive coordinator, and really any good coach, knows how to adjust and adapt to the play caller, or the signal, or the quarterback. Because you have injury, right? You have changes. You see it during the course of the year. How many backups played this year? You got to adjust your scheme to fit the quarterback, and the skill set that you have available to you, be that quarterback or receiver or tight end. And the adaptability to be able to do that during the course of a season is huge. So that would be the thing.
Does Justin's unique skill set add any layer to that of limitation? I don't know if it's limitation or just a challenge, because his skill set is just different than a lot of other quarterbacks.
I don't think so.
Matt, when went into your decision to move on from Luke Getsy? You mentioned development, but can you expand on that?
Yeah, just the growth and development of the offense. To me, needed to be better than what it was. And to me, you look at the passing game. Certainly, that's one aspect of it, and that's where it is. And we decided to move on from that. And again, that was my decision. Obviously, conferring with Ryan and George and Kevin, and we made a decision this morning.
Matt, you've now had 7 coaches this season either dismissed or depart the building. How do you account for those missteps?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I understand the question. I think when you're running an organization, a team, a football team, and you're the head of that, you got to make tough decisions, and those tough decisions were made, and we feel it's in the best interest for the Bears to do that.
You obviously have to find replacements. What mistakes can you avoid making a second time reassembling a staff here?
Yeah, just, taking all the information, do a great job with discerning, have some wisdom there, conferring with Ryan and the rest of the staff that's here and make.
And I think as you can see right there, what you were watching was Matt Eberflus letting you know Ryan Poles is in on this process. It's important for the team. It's important for everybody to get the right guy. And look, if the Bears get Justin Fields going, and this is the thing, then sure. As long as he can run whatever offense that we have, look, the team's going to be very good next year. And I want to say that. And I think that we should all recognize the Chicago Bears are probably going to have a breakout season next year. They're going to be, and I'm talking about this early. I'm talking about this early on. They're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles type breakout that we saw a couple years ago, where Philadelphia closed out the previous season on a nice little run. Not great, but a good little run to close out the season. And then the next season, they became one of the elite teams in the league. And we saw a lot of development coming out of Jalen Hurts leading the team. I think we're going to see the same thing with Justin Fields, even though what we are going to have is a new offensive coordinator. So there'll be some learning that goes along with it, but look, it's actually very simple. Football is football. So you're going to learn the terminology, you're going to learn to execute the plays. They're going to do the best job that they can to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then from there, they're going to build this thing out. Now, if it doesn't work out, Tyson Bagent will be, he's going to be right there. And I think that Tyson Bagent does make quicker reads. He will be the backup. And if we end up for any reason having to go to Tyson Bagent, then, I think that still makes us at least a 500 team. That will cost everybody their jobs, and we will be forced to start over again. No disrespect to Tyson Bagent by any means. I think he's a good guy. Did have a lot of turnovers in a short period of time, but Justin's already got him. So I think that but I don't think that that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is I think that Matt Eberflus learned a very hard lesson. That hard lesson was we were not ready for the season, and we should have been ready for the season to start. And that he's going to have to do a better job and a more effective job. And everybody on that staff, and by the way, the fact that he had to fire his defensive coordinator and running backs coach means that they probably were not ready for the season to begin. And the offense struggling meant that Luke Getsy was not ready for the season to begin. That the coaching staff has a lot of blame in that regard. And I hope that Matt Eberflus takes some responsibility for that, and that this becomes something where we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for success, because if we're not prepared for success, then we're just accepting failure. So I do feel that next year we're going to see a different team. We're going to see a team that starts winning ball games right away. Are they going to be perfect? No. Are they going to continue to improve? Yes. They're going to continue to get better and better and better. And we'll see moments where we might even roll our eyes and say, oh, here we go again, because we don't see that down the field passing game or something like that. There's going to be a spot where the offensive coordinator is trying to learn what it is that he has to work with. But here's the thing. He's going to be practicing against one of the best defenses in the league. So, and by the way, I don't think that they ended up as the best passing defense in the league or even close to that. But the important part is they're going to get better and they're going to improve as it goes on. Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, I'm assuming Jalen's going to be with us, but Tyreek Stevenson, those are two of the best cornerbacks, two young cornerbacks in the league. Jaquan Brisker, great safety. Kyler Gordon is out there. Eddie Jackson's probably going to have to be gone. We'll need to add some depth. But TJ and Tremaine Edwards at linebacker, guys, I think that we've got a decent team. Now, Yannick Ngakoue has to be replaced. I don't think that DeMarcus Walker is the guy, although DeMarcus Walker started to come on towards the end of the year. I don't think there was enough time. But obviously, Montez Sweat is a game changer. And Gervon Dexter seemed to be shoring up the middle of the line. Again, number one rush defense in all of football. So if we can complement Montez Sweat with a bookend that pushes the pocket and collapses the pocket rapidly and pushes the quarterback up into the pocket and gives Gervon Dexter and whoever else we have. I do hear rumors, by the way, that Akeem Hicks might even make a command return. But if we can get just some real good pressure on a quarterback and we focus on that, then. And by the way, I do hope that we bring in a blitzing guy because I do think that adding one or two more linebackers or a safety every once in a while into the blitz scheme only benefits the Chicago Bears at applying more pressure. We want to make sure that the quarterbacks are not comfortable in the pocket, and we allowed them to be way too comfortable in pocket. It looked like it really looked like Jordan Love had all day, and we can argue, by the way, because the Green Bay Packers they've had a great offensive line. Even when they start to break down, they seem to rally back around and figure out a way to get it working, which is something that we haven't done so far. But I think it's a testament of their overall talent. And I think this is a very talented line that worked well and learned under Aaron Rodgers, who made it easier for them. And as they're getting everything kind of together, so, I mean, we'll see what happens here. But I'm seeing right now Jim Caldwell just got fired. So there's going to be a lot of people out here on the market. Bill Belichick, by the way. Bill Belichick is gone as well. Bill Belichick and the Patriots are expected to part ways Thursday after a remarkable 24-season run. So a lot going on here in the NFL. So hopefully over the next little while we'll see. I don't see anything about Jim Caldwell yet. But if he just got fired, then that's another option. Look, here's what I think. I think that the Bears are on the verge. I think they're on the cusp of something great. I think that we are actually seeing. I was joking about it before, but the Monsters of the Midway, that is a legendary thing. And by the way, I'm not saying this blindly, not knowing that we do tend to live a lot in the past. So and by the way, if I might add, this was just released by the Chicago Bears, and look who is featured prominently all over it. Justin Fields, DJ Moore, and Khalil Herbert. And by the way, Chicago Bears next year will be playing in London, and they will be the home team for that. And, it looks like, just based on this advertisement, that maybe the Chicago Bears are getting ready to run it back. So I think that's fantastic for the team. Fantastic opportunity. This is live. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask the questions. I apologize that I'm not in the chat today, by the way. I do have a secondary function before I do this. I am a cryptocurrency person, so I have crypto streams and stuff like that I do beforehand. So normally in those, I do things by super chat, and I don't have a super chat set up on here yet. I do have, by the way, that does start tomorrow, so there'll be a lot more engagement. But let's get into chat a little bit here. We're going to start right here. Mike Ibsen, Jim Caldwell just got fired for doing a bad job. The Ravens look much better now that Roman is gone, and our offense would have to learn a new scheme. I'd rather have Waldron. I do think that Shane Waldron represents a good opportunity. Now, Mike, I want to be honest with you. I think, to me, the best option, and by the way, I don't have a problem with Shane Waldron if he's the guy, but I would like to see Tommy Rees. I would like to, that's the guy that I would like to see. He's been something of a quarterback whisperer, and I think that's exactly what we need. Shane Waldron, however, did turn Geno Smith around, so it cannot be understated. Bill Belichick must have forgot how to coach. No, he forgot how to have Tom Brady as his quarterback. This is live. Waldron will be a head coach next year. I'd rather JF1 not have to go through another OC next year. And that, by the way, could be one of those problems. Shane might also end up being the head coach in Seattle. So there's a possibility here that we can't get Shane Waldron. Tommy Rees, I'm glad you like Tom. I like one of the things, the guys, that I want to point out about Tommy Rees, and look, I'm not telling you that he's the most brilliant hire in all of football. What I'm saying is Jalen Milroe was not a very good quarterback to start Alabama's season. Alabama might be able to beat some of the worst NFL teams on a good day. Alabama, a strong team, always has been, well coached, well-oiled machine, but they came into the season not able to execute. So what did Tommy Rees do? Did he start taking everything out of Jalen Milroe's hand like Luke Getsy did? Absolutely not. Did he start calling just running plays and not giving his quarterback a chance to explode? Absolutely not. He threw out the entire playbook and then wrote down 5 plays. And they ran 5 plays for one game, and they were the 5 best plays that Jalen Milroe liked. And then they added in a few more plays the next week, and they added in a few more plays the next week, and they added in a few more plays the next week. They turned Jalen Milroe into a Heisman contender by the end of the year. In fact, were it not for the situation right now with Nick Saban, that is a problem. But were it not for that, then we'd probably be talking about Jalen Milroe as the preseason Heisman favorite for next year because of what he did. So I would get the sense and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, that's what we're going to see end up happening. Ryan Day, I don't think that Ryan Day comes here. I would not be against Ryan Day, but I don't consider that Ryan Day has that I don't think there's a long-term potential here. Now, there's going to be some pressure at Ohio State. They just lost to Michigan, but let's face it, the first time they lost to Michigan, like they've had a really good run. So I would think that he's going to want to stay as the head coach at Ohio State. Plus, I would venture to say that they're going to pay him more to stay, or they're going to pay him a lot to sit at home because he's under contract for a while. So I don't think that Troy. I got to be honest with you. I was joking Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday that Luke Getsy in his final Bears game coached the best game that he ever coached for the Green Bay Packers. And I feel that's very disrespectful to him. I feel bad about saying it, but I stand by it. I stand by it. And guys, should we at least acknowledge that Luke Getsy coached a horrible game against a team that he knows exactly how to coach against, or at least he should know. And if he doesn't, then shame on him. He doesn't deserve to be a coach anyway. But he coached against the team that he came from that's going to do all of the stuff that he knows they're going to do, and he still couldn't come up with a game plan against his buddies. That's bad. No matter how you look at that, that is insanity at its finest. It's just mind-blowing. It's just absolutely mind-blowing that he couldn't get it together in any way. And by the way, in case you were wondering, we talked about Dan Bernstein. We memorialized the fact that he apparently had a stroke on air yesterday, wilding out, absolutely going bonkers. And look at this. He is out here just losing his mind now on X. Poles says he chose to keep Eberflus without talking to anybody. No exploration whatsoever of a superior alternative. This is just staggering. It's his job to determine any and all possibilities for improvement whenever possible. Guys, poor Dan Bernstein. Look, is this what happens from being a Chicago Bears fan for too long? I don't think so, because I've been a Chicago Bears fan for a long time, and I don't feel that way. I do second guess the team when they make mistakes. I do second guess some of the processes. I do understand how cheap the McCaskies are, and I do understand that financially it's very difficult for the Chicago Bears in the current environment to keep up with the rest of the league. And I understand that, Jerry Jones is out here with oil rigs and stuff like that, and he has a bunch of money coming in, and there's a lot of different owners around here, Bob Kraft, people like that just have enormous sums of money that they can throw at their football team, and the McCaskies rely on it for their income. So they don't have extra money to throw around, to pay luxury taxes and stuff like that. I understand that that's the case, and I understand that that's why they need to build a new stadium. I understand all of those pieces, but I think that means that the future is going to be bright for the Chicago Bears. They will find a way. Or they will end up selling the team. Virginia McCaskey just had a birthday, 101st birthday. How long is she going to live? George, a little too involved, probably, but we'll see what happens. I think that Kevin Warren was brought in to fix all of these situations and to find funds for this team. So I think we're going to be looking at some changes and some more money for the Chicago Bears so that they can fill out this roster with the appropriate people. Now, I hope and I think that they got Ryan Poles, who's pretty savvy so far at building the team. I want to say, guys, you look around at Jaquan Brisker, you look around at Tyreek Stevenson, you look around at Darnell Wright, like this guy is nailing it way more than he's missing it. You look at the trade for DJ Moore, he basically stole DJ Moore from the Carolina Panthers and got the number 1 overall pick. You look at the Montez Sweat pickup and you look at him signing Montez Sweat to a long-term contract. You look at Jalen Johnson coming in here and getting ready to sign a long-term contract. Look at this team. Like, he's building a significant team. And one of the quotes that I did not share with you that he did make was, hey, look, we've got significant salary cap room. So we're going to build this team. We're going to make this a much better team. And these draft picks, guys, the dynamic of the Chicago Bears in the offense changes dramatically with the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I don't think that's the end of it. It is my opinion. Malik Neighbors needs to be the next pick for the Bears if we could get him. If not, Roma Dunze. I do think, however, that Roma Dunze, we would be settling for him. No disrespect to him. I think he's better as a 2. But if you have DJ Moore as a 1 and a 2, then Roma Dunze probably doesn't fit that 3 position as well. But I think Malik Neighbors, by virtue of his superior ability to get open on short routes, makes him, he's a much better route runner. So I think that makes him the desirable 3 in this. And of course, he can work the 1s and the 2s. So this, I think it changes the dynamic of this team exponentially. And then you can look at, let's see, let's really kind of break this down. I was going to do this tomorrow, but let's take a quick look here. And here's the free agent tracker. So, we can get at least an idea of what's going on. So we've got DJ Moore. As you know what, this is not even the right year. God damn it. Oh, the Chicago Bears are the worst. All right, so Yannick Ngakoue is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Justin Jones, Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney. Okay, Lucas Patrick, Dan Feeney, probably gone, or at least one of them is going to be gone. Robert Tonyan, unrestricted free agent, tight end. I don't think that he's been a viable option here. So I think that maybe he's gone as well. Rasheem Green, defensive end, unrestricted free agent, probably gone. Deontay Foreman, would love to see Deontay Foreman continue to stay with the Bears. 27.7 years. I think we got, another 3-year, 4-year contract for Deontay Foreman, maybe. But Khalil Herbert does a bang-up job to begin with. So, we'll see what happens there. Mercedes Lewis, he's not coming back. He's 40 years old. He's retiring. He's done with. Jalen Johnson says that he thinks that he's coming back. Patrick Scales, he's done. Equinemius St. Brown, that did not work out at all. He's gone. Trent Taylor, probably gone. I mean, did Trent Taylor even see the field this year? You know what I mean? Dylan Cole, probably gone. Darnell Mooney, Darnell Mooney it was such a great opportunity at $894,000. If only he had come through and been worth just so much more. Didn't work out though, and I think it's time to move on from Darnell Mooney. He put in a lot of work and he put in a lot of effort, but it didn't produce the results that we want to see on the field. He has his limitations, and and then wide receiver Joe Reed, no chance of coming back. Maybe if you can get these minimum contracts, if you can get people back for these minimums, then maybe you bring them back. If you can get Darnell Mooney to come back as a backup for $1 million, $1.5 million, sure. But the rest of these guys probably gone. And if you just kind of look at all teams and what do we need more than anything? I think that we need a center. So if you update this list, you've got Jason Kelsey out there, which I don't think that's a good fit, by the way. 36 years old, $14 million. No chance in my mind that he's the man. But Connor Williams out of Miami, I think is the best option. And his contract's up at $7 million. He's an unrestricted free agent. I think that is a great opportunity right there to pick up a really good player. Andre James as well from the Raiders, or Aaron Brewer, still young. So you move on from Lucas Patrick, and boom, now you're looking at some real good centers. So I think that the future is bright. Like we fixed the problem. We fixed this problem in free agency. Maybe pick up in the later rounds an up and coming center. Maybe that's a good move. And look, there's a lot of holes. A lot of holes that could be filled. However, and Mike Gibson says that Connor Williams had an Achilles injury this year, and that is true. But it's being stated that he is perfectly fine. So a lot of excitement. And by the way, in the event that Connor Williams doesn't grade out very well, Andre James, Aaron Brewer, look, we can get a serviceable, dare I say, very good and significant upgrade at center by free agency. We do not need to draft. So if he's out, then we've got Andre James, Aaron Brewer. Make the offers. We'll see what happens, but let's make the offers and find out whether or not we've got our guy out there. So and by the way, I do want to say that this would be game changing. I don't think that we could get him, but Derrick Henry is now out there and available. So it is possible. Anything is possible. I don't think that it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a waste of cap room and a waste of cap space. But it's possible that we have some bangers come in here. However, at the end of the day, this is what I want to say. I want to wrap this up, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out, even if you do, to help this video trend for the rest of the day. I appreciate so much that your support and you took the time to listen to me rant and ramble here about the Chicago Bears. We're doing this every day at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, the right time zone, to kind of break down what is going on with the Chicago Bears, get into this free agency market, figure out what's the best strategy. And there's going to be times when you're not going to agree with me. Again, you might like Caleb Williams. I like Justin Fields. I am a Chicago Bears fan first. I don't care who the quarterback is. I am Bears before Fields. I am Bears before Deontay Foreman. I am Bears before Sweat. I am the Chicago Bears fan. I am not the fan of the player. I like the players. I want them to be on the team. But hey, look, I would have taken Aaron Rodgers at any point if he had, and he's been the enemy for a long period of time. I don't care. Whatever makes the Chicago Bears better, that's what I'm into. I have my opinions. I will give you my opinions all of the time. And I will tell you that I think that Justin Fields is the most viable option at this point, because if you're going to learn a new offense, a guy in this realm. All right, Gator, I think I went a little bit too far for somebody with that Aaron Rodgers comment. But look, I don't care. What I want the Chicago Bears to succeed, and that's what matters. The success of the Chicago Bears should be paramount to everybody, and not the success of Justin Fields, not the success of Caleb Williams, not the success of DJ Moore. That should be complementary to the success of the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to be on Team Bears this entire time. That said, I'm going to give you my opinion each and every single day about what I think should happen. Who should be the quarterback? Who should be the wide receivers? What are we looking at in the draft? What possibilities do we have? And as we get closer, a lot of this information will start to really unfold and make it a lot simpler to figure out who the people should be. By the way, my name is Bleeves. If you haven't already, I do Bleeves Crypto. So if you're interested in cryptocurrency, you can go check me out at Bleeves Crypto. And remember that the devil from AEW, it's not me, but I did keep the mask. You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and we will see you again very, very soon. And we're going to play the intro as an outro just because I haven't made a new one yet. And if you follow me on crypto, you know I love making videos.